Time to do some maintenance on my '05 Honda VTX 1800. I'm How To Bob, and I'm going to change the spark plugs. You see I have my NGK Laser Iridium Platinum spark plugs. Now I want to check the gap. It comes preset. I don't want to use this type or this type. The only type feeler gauge that should be used is a wire type, and this should be at 1 to 1.1 millimeters. So I'm going to put my 1 millimeter in here. Now the gap on these spark plugs cannot be adjusted. If it's not within tolerances, you need to replace the spark plugs. So these look okay. So I'm going to get started by taking off the cap. I'm going to start at the front right of the bike, and I'll take off the spark plug cap or cover, we'll call it, here on the front right using a 5 millimeter Allen socket. Once I get that off, I'm going to blow out any debris, and I do this for each spark plug. Then I can pull my spark plug boot off and set it off to the side. And I'm going to use a 5/8 spark plug socket to remove the spark plug. Now this bike has 4 different spark plugs, 2 on the left and 2 on the right, so I'm going to repeat the process, so stay with me on this. They are a little bit different. The front and the back are a little bit different, and they're different side to side. So I've got my first plug out. I'm going to use an anti-seize, and what that does is keep it from locking up inside the cylinder when the different types of metals go together. And I want to put that around the threads and make sure none of it gets up on the tip and goes into the cylinder. And I'll repeat that for all 4 spark plugs. Once I get that anti-seize put on, I can put my spark plug in the spark plug hole, and I want to tighten it down as tight as I can get it by hand first before putting a tool on it. That way it prevents it from cross-threading. I can actually feel how it's going into the threads and make sure it doesn't get cross-threaded. Once I get it in by hand, I can bring my ratchet back, and it has a crush gasket, so if it's the first time you've used the spark plug, you can kind of feel it crushing the gasket on the spark plug, and you want to tighten that down pretty tight. Got it all the way tightened down. I can replace the boot, and I'll make sure that snaps in place. And then I want to slide this all the way back, make sure it's flush here so that my cap can go back on. I'll get my cap and put it into place. And then I can replace the 2 spark plug cover screws here. And again, I'm going to put these in without using a ratchet, but I'm just using the socket to align them up here. I'll put it in by hand first before tightening it up. Then I can come back with the ratchet and tighten it up. Now I'm going to be moving on to the right rear spark plug, and same as the last one, I'm going to remove the spark plug cover using a 5 millimeter Allen socket. And once I get the cover off, you'll notice that this spark plug sits a little different into the cylinder than the front one, but you want to still do the same procedure. You can twist the spark plug boot back and forth just to loosen it up, and you want to get as far down in as you can to pull it off so you don't pull on the wire. Then I can remove the spark plug wire and push it off to the side here. Blow out my spark plug area just to keep any dirt, so when I take my spark plug off, it doesn't get in my cylinder. And then I'll use my 5 millimeter spark plug socket to pull the spark plug loose. Now this one's a little deeper and it didn't come out, so I'll have to use my needle nose to fetch it out of the hole here. And you can see it's pretty deep in there. And I've got my new one with the anti-seize. Go ahead and put that in. This one I can't do by hand, so I will just use the extension on the socket. That way I can make sure that the spark plug is going in correctly until it bottoms out. At which point I'll bring the socket wrench in and tighten it up until the gasket is smashed flat. Alright, now I can put my boot back on, make sure it clicks into place nice and tight. Put my connections up in there, and then I can put my cover on. I'll put my 2 screws in and tighten them down. Then I'm going to move around to the other side, start off on the left front spark plug. And once I get the cover off here, you'll notice that the left front looks pretty much like the right rear. So I have to pull that one out, and I'm going to use the air again just to blow out any debris that might be in there. And then I can get my 5/8 socket to remove the spark plug. And since the bike's leaning this way, this spark plug will come out a little bit easier than the one on the right. Got my new spark plug, got my anti-seize on the threads. I'll put it in by hand till it gets as tight as I can go, and then turn it down, crank it down with the ratchet handle. Put the boot back on nice and tight, get everything lined up, and then I can put my cover back on. Get this lined up and tighten my cover down. And then I'll move to the left rear spark plug. Now you notice once I get the cover off of my left rear spark plug that it looks very similar to the spark plug on the right front. I want to make sure I blow the dirt out of the area. Use my 5/8 socket, remove the spark plug. Got my new spark plug ready with my anti-seize. Go ahead and put it in by hand. So I get it bottomed out, I can go ahead and tighten it up. Put my boot back on, get everything lined back up, and put the cover back on my spark plug. And that's how you change the spark plugs in a 2005 Honda VTX 1800R. If you like this video, check out my other VTX videos. Like and subscribe. I'm How To Bob. Thanks for watching.